So before I even published this lecture, I have to update it, and that's because Arduino has finally published the stable version of Arduino IDE version 2.0.0, as you can see here. Now, originally this lecture, when I recorded it, I was using a release candidate version of the Arduino IDE version 2. It was release candidate 9.2, as you'll see a bit later on in this lecture, in this video. And then in the time that it took me to go and edit this video and publish it, as I said, Arduino released a stable version of Arduino IDE 2.0. So I decided to update this video with this introduction so that you know that what I said was about to happen in the video actually has happened. Another thing that I did was to compare the now stable version of the Arduino IDE version 2 against the one that I used in the video, which, as you can see here, is version 2.0 release candidate 9.2, just to see if there are any changes or any differences. And I discovered there are no user interface differences. The differences are under the hood improvements that is in the code, nothing that you will see when you're working with the Arduino IDE version 2. So just wanted to show you where you can find more information about all this. This is the version of the Arduino IDE in the video that follows, that you're watching right now, 2.0 RC release candidate 9.2. This is the version of the Arduino IDE that is now stable, and it's version 2.0. If I go to RC 9.2, I can compare against version 2.0 like this. Hold on a second, I should probably switch them around to make this work. There you go. So now you can see the differences between RC 9.2 and 2.0, and I've gone through this list a bit earlier, and there are various bug fixes and improvements in the code of the IDE, but nothing that would affect the normal usage of the IDE. So, for example, I'm just going to cancel out of this. Okay, so all of the buttons and the different panes here are the same. The serial plotter, same between version 2 and the release candidate. The preferences, all the same, no changes, and so on. So I have decided to just continue with the publication of this video that you're watching right now with a new introduction, so that you know at this point that Arduino IDE 2.0 stable version is out. You can download it from Arduino CC, just the usual place. Go to software. As you can see, the Arduino IDE 2.0 is available to download at the very top of this page instead of somewhere at the bottom, as was the case when I recorded the original version of this video. So in the rest of this video, I'll show you how the new stable Arduino IDE 2.0 compares to the previous releases, Arduino IDE 1.8 series. The current version of stable Arduino IDE is version 1.x. As I'm recording this, bleeding edge of the 1 series of the Arduino IDE is 1.8.12, as I mentioned in the previous lecture. However, the next generation of the Arduino IDE is in the works, and it is Arduino IDE version 2. At the moment I'm recording this lecture, there is a release candidate, and that is version 9.2. In this lecture, I wanted to show you some of the really nice features of Arduino IDE 2.0, which hopefully will be the official version of the Arduino IDE, and how it compares against to the version 1 series. First of all, how to get Arduino IDE version 2.0, at least a release candidate. It's the same way as you get Series 1 of the Arduino IDE. Go to arduino.cc, software, scroll down this page, and you'll see the section future version of the Arduino IDE, and there's Arduino IDE 2.0 release candidate. Currently, as I said, version 9.2. So if you are curious about the details, then have a look at the GitHub repository for the Arduino IDE, and here you'll find the source code information about its development, and of course, information about the latest releases and what's changed in between releases. So for those of you that are curious about these software changes to the IDE, this is the place to go and have a look. Now let's have a look at the differences and the similarities. First of all, the similarities. I've got Arduino 1.8.20 on the right side and Arduino IDE 2.0 on the left side. As you can see up in the menus, nothing really has changed. The menus are pretty much identical and you will find them very familiar. You'll be able to use them between versions 1 and 2 without struggling to do so. There is a small difference in the way that the preferences menu is laid out. So this is the preferences menu for Arduino 1.8.20, and this is the preferences menu for Arduino 2.0. Just if I can put them aside so you can see them next to each other. Same details though, it's just the arrangement of the various items in the preferences menu may be a bit different, but you should be able to recognize everything in the preferences window of the Arduino IDE 2.0. So it's with the similarities. In terms of using the two versions of the Arduino IDE, I'll just put them side by side like that. Pretty much everything's the same. So for example, in Arduino 1 series, I'll call it that, you can go to File, go to your sketchbook, go to the examples, load up an example, and you'll see it appearing in a tab. Similarly, in Arduino IDE 2.0, again, you can go to the File menu, open up a sketch from the sketchbook or one of the examples, and again, it will appear in a tab in your familiar place in the Arduino IDE. You also have access to the serial monitor, just like you do with Arduino Series 1. And there's also a button for the serial plotter, where in the first series of the Arduino IDE, you'd have to go into Tools and bring it up from the Tool menu like that. But it's essentially the same thing, just more convenient. Down here in the output, you still have the output window or the output segment of the Arduino IDE. Here in the second version, you also have a couple of buttons that allow you to lock the scrolling of the output or to clear the output. Convenience buttons there. Now, the biggest difference between the two versions of the Arduino IDEs have to do with this navigation bar on the left of the Arduino IDE version 2. If you click on it, you'll see that you get access to the sketchbook. This is the same sketchbook that you have access from the File menu. You get the same items in here. But in addition to that, you also have access to your sketches on the Arduino Cloud, remote sketchbook. So this means that in Arduino IDE 2.0, there is a unification between the local sketches and the remote sketches on your Arduino Cloud account. So this is what the Arduino Cloud account looks like for me. You've got the sketchbook option in the navigation bar on the left, and then you have your various sketches, or in my case, these are my various sketches, organized in folders or straight out sketches that appear on the root of my sketchbook. And these are the sketches that I also have access to in my Arduino IDE 2.0. So I can load them onto my local copy of the Arduino IDE, or I can work with those sketches remotely via my web browser. So this is a big change between the two versions of the Arduino IDE. You've got more. On the same left navigation bar, you've got the Boards Manager, which you can also access via the Tools menu, Boards Manager, which is exactly as you used to do it in the Arduino IDE version 1. There's a Boards Manager. So essentially, it's just a more convenient way to get access to your boards. You also have the exact same feature, but with libraries. There's Library Manager, still accessible via the Sketch menu, Include Library and Manage Libraries. Same thing. You've got some debugging features for boards that have debugging capability. And finally, global search. So you can search and search replace in your projects across multiple tabs. Now I'm going to give you a quick demonstration of what it looks like to upload a sketch to your Arduino Uno using the Arduino IDE version 2, and you'll find the process very familiar. So first, I'm going to plug my Arduino to my computer. I'll pick a sketch from the file menu, go for one of the examples, basics, go for the blink without delay. I've already loaded this sketch here, and I'm going to make a little change here. I'm going to change the interval to 100 milliseconds just to make the LED blink very fast. Now, the nice thing here that you may have noticed, I'm going to demonstrate again. I'm going to unplug. And notice that down here, the Arduino IDE knows that the Arduino Uno is not connected. I'm going to plug this board back in. And the Arduino IDE detected the Arduino Uno and basically got my Arduino Uno ready for the upload. I didn't really have to do anything else. Unlike with the first version of the Arduino IDE, the first series, where I had to go into Tools, I had to select the board, I had to select the port, and then do the upload. The Arduino IDE version 2, for boards that the Arduino IDE version 2 knows about, it will do all that automatically. And of course, you can manually make changes, especially if you have multiple Arduinos connected through the select board window. But in most cases, the automation here works without any problems, and the Arduino Uno in this case is detected automatically, and it works out of the box. Let me give you one more example before I go on and upload this sketch. In here, I've got an Arduino MKR 1010 Wi-Fi. I've removed the casing so you can take a better look of what's inside. So I've got an Arduino MKR 1010 Wi-Fi on a Arduino MKR IoT carrier board, and just going to unplug my Arduino Uno and plug in a mini USB cable so that I can connect it to the MKR 1010. And notice how the Arduino IDE version 2 will detect it. From the drop down, I'll be able to select it, and then we're good to go. I will unconnect it, then connect it again. And I'm good to go. All right, back to the Arduino Uno. Connected to my computer. From the drop-down menu, I'll select the Arduino Uno, it's connected, and then upload the sketch. It's pretty quick to do the upload, and you can see the LED blinking at a rate of 100 milliseconds on off. So if you are keen to experiment with the Arduino IDE 2.0, go for it. You can download it from the software page on the arduino.cc website and experiment with Arduino IDE version 2.0.